everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Jamal and Joe Show. We want to thank you guys a lot for tuning in and watching us. We're having a lot of fun doing this, aren't we, man?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Happy post-Thanksgiving. I guess the proper term would be Black Friday if you're out shopping.
Yes.
Do you usually do the shopping madness after the? Are you usually out fighting people like with fists today? You get a deal?
I mean, we've done the Black Friday in the past, but I don't need another flat screen TV. I've got enough of them. And
man, they're so cheap though.
I know, but I just like I've got my flat screen in my living room, which is like 2 years old. And then I've got one in my bedroom, and then each of my kids have one. I don't need another one. I mean, they're cheap, but like, where am I going to put it? You know?
Like pimp your ride, put it like on the mud flaps,
Yeah, I know. Right. But I mean, I've done the Black Friday thing before where I stood in line all night with the wife, and it was more of an event than it was anything else. But the last couple of years, we've been doing everything online. I mean, it's, you can wait in line if you need that immediate thing, but you can just go, or you can wait in line in person, or you can just go online and order it. And I mean, retailers are getting smart now, and they're realizing people don't want to stand outside in the cold. November in most places it's cold. It's pretty moderate here. But I ordered, today I went online and ordered a ton of stuff that I'd been saving up to buy, and I just ordered it online. It'll be shipped in the next couple of days.
Well, that's like, we talked about before of will retail spaces even make it? And that was, just kind of talking about the Rona. I mean, even without that, retail was taking a complete nosedive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just because of Amazon, and now it's just been amplified. Anything that was like making it during COVID seems to be like, still doing really well, and otherwise you got, unless you're like I mean, like I said, that's the thing, like restaurants, I mean, they're still toast. I assume at some point they'll pull through. Now, is there like light at the end of the tunnel because people are feeling hopeful that there's a reasonable
because of the vaccine?
Well, just that there's a reasonable adult in charge, and that maybe
true.
Maybe the whole
that's a good point.
Just that the whole thing will get dealt with it, at all efficiently and reasonably. And I think there's still a ways to go, but just that, I mean, I think I've heard Biden talk twice, which is still maybe more than I'd ever care to be hearing my president in such a short period.
But remember this
holiday.
So there's that old, I know they're one of those gentleman's agreement that there's only one president at a time. And that's been one of those time traditions with the respectful transfer of power.
Not necessarily that part. I mean, just the whole idea that, like, to not hear from the president every day.
Gotcha.
Multiple times a day. You know what I mean? That whole platform of constantly just. But anyway, just hearing him talk, and I don't think he's a great speaker. I just think that he talks like an adult, and so that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, he puts sentences together and he's coherent.
Well, and he says things that are actually like, "Oh, we're going to try to make everybody, better."
Right.
Oh, I haven't heard that kind of a sentiment in a while.
No, it's been like, if you're my enemy, I'm going to crush you. But back to retail for a second. So, boy, this is a tough one here because, people throw a lot of shade on Amazon, saying that Amazon kind of put all these other places out of business. And I think if you look at the evolution of the world, and I think once the internet came on board, it was inevitable that people were going to gravitate towards the internet because it's much more convenient,
I don't know if it was inevitable. It happened to kind of go that route. And maybe that is the inevitability of it, is that the way it developed people are always going to prefer to have something delivered right to their doorstep than have to go out
Well,
for it. It just took a while to get to that point. You know what I mean? But once it
I'll give you
did,
this. So I was an early adopter on the internet. I was all about the internet and everything about it way back when. And some people might say I was an earlier adopter to giving away all my information. Maybe so. But if you think about it, if I'm going to go and buy a TV and I'm going to go and buy a bed frame and I'm going to go and buy, 3 or 4 other things, that could easily be 3 or 4 hours driving around town in traffic.
oh my gosh,
To gas, or I can sit right here and with clicks, I can order all those things and have the rest of the day to myself.
well, so I mean, I didn't go to business college, but the whole idea of supply and demand is one of the, I mean, because everything gets thrown around now of like socialism is such a bad word. Capitalism, ooh, that's a cruel, evil guy. The whole man. There are, I guess, bad ends to both those spectrums, but I mean, capitalism is also kind of what drives innovation. I mean, you have to keep being. You don't necessarily have to make relevant. That's all. You don't necessarily. I was going to say you don't have to keep making something new necessarily. You just have to be relevant.
Right.
And so, when people could make that choice of having something delivered, and it wasn't, and that was the thing, it wasn't like it went from nothing could get delivered to everything gets delivered like now. It was little increments along the way, but that's why it kept getting further along, was because it was successful and people were like, yeah, that's
well,
kind of a
but you got to
nice
remember
idea.
this.
If you could deliver more things, I would let you.
Think of it this way: Domino's, Pizza Hut, they had it right the whole time. People have been getting pizzas delivered for 30 years, right? 25, 30 years.
But even that, like, you couldn't get McDonald's delivered until the Rona hit.
No,
right?
But you could.
Could you?
You could.
Okay.
So you could have ordered a courier to go and pick up your food.
Okay, there you go.
We did that when we first moved to Charlotte. We wanted Chinese food, but it was like torrential storm. And I called them and I'm like, asking them, you guys have a delivery guy? And this is before Uber Eats and all that. And
okay.
The guy said, I don't, but we work next to Domino's Pizza and their guy works as a courier. And if you call them and ask for so-and-so, he will pick it up for you and bring it to you.
How great is that? Oh, wow.
Well done. And this is probably 2008, 2009, because Addison was a baby.
Right.
And that was one reason why we didn't want to go out, because we had the little baby. And
but like you said, that was before Uber Eats and what's the DoorDash.
Yeah. So I always ordered from this Chinese food restaurant because I could call the Domino's pizza guy, and for
awesome.
Cash, cash money greases the wheel, he'd bring it to me.
Hey,
think of it this way: the pizza places had it right all along. They had it right. They would cook your food, they'd bring it to you, they'd charge you a couple bucks. And, think about if McDonald's or Taco Bell or one of those had come up with their own delivery system, they would probably be ruling the roost right now,
I guess, but I mean, man, the infrastructure you got to invest in, as far as like all the cars, although if everybody's a private contractor, like, is the way to do things. You just call everybody a private contractor, and then they have to supply their own vehicle. Wasn't that the thing that just got? I think that just got ruled on in California. That was like
I believe it was
right. For all the Lyft and Uber drivers, that way you don't have to give them health insurance. So that's handy.
Exactly.
And again, for as much as like beef is like California gets for like the left coast and so liberal, this and that, I mean, they are not shy about taking your money, no,
not at all.
And I've heard the taxes are not very nice. And a lot of the stars and whatnot, or maybe people that can afford to leave are leaving California for other places.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you really want to go live in Texas, then I guess knock yourself out. I don't.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
that's what California's banking on, is that you want to live in California.
right. Well, people are leaving California. They're going to Nevada. They're going to New Mexico, and they're going to Colorado, which on the scale are still pretty friendly
Colorado
places.
sounds nice, but I don't know. I mean, I guess any place is nice if you got the money to make it nice, and
Right.
they just build it.
Well, and there's money in Nevada. We know that. There's tons of money.
So are you talking like people are just moving to Vegas or in and
Yeah.
around Vegas?
Yeah, in and around Vegas, the suburbs of Vegas. Vegas is growing like crazy.
Here's the thing. Here's my question, because I know like water's always an issue there and in
Yeah.
LA. Here's my grand plan. Why couldn't you run? Here's my map from the Great Lakes. Pick one
Mm-hmm.
and go and make a pipeline together. People tell me there's mountain ranges. There's
Yeah,
things,
I think you would have to
things in
tunnel
the
through.
way.
You would have to tunnel through the Rockies, which I'm guessing would be ridiculously expensive.
But I mean, weren't they? I mean, the one that is, what was it? The one that the big one that got finally, I think, canceled. That was going to go from like BC to the Gulf of Mexico.
Right, but that didn't have to go through any mountain ranges. It was going to go around the Cascades. It was going to go through the valley.
Okay, well then pick a valley and go. There's no valleys. Anyway.
No, I don't think there. I don't. I think the better bet would be taking more of the spillway from the Colorado River through the Hoover Dam and bringing it down into the desert, which is also ridiculously expensive. But I think that's the better play.
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk about ridiculously expensive, then why not do the desalination plants and just have those up and running like they do in Dubai? That General Electric runs commercials about building those plants in not our country. It seems like those would be sweet for the country that General Electric, resides in. Because people here need that stuff. But like I see, like I want to say, it's Dubai has a desal plant that is, I mean, it is a large facility. But again, they got nothing but money to burn anyway. So why not? And they can do that. And I get that, it's the whole, how much energy you're investing into it to get that return of the water and what value that has. But I don't know. I mean, when you're starting to say a gallon of water is $12 a gallon, essentially, or whatever it is, it seems like at a certain point you can make that math work. I mean, Nestle is been eyeing a bottling plant in a place called Cascade Locks, which is on the Columbia River.
Yep.
And what is a very scenic part of that place that had a nasty not a wildfire. It was a fire that was caused, it was an arson. And people were very, traumatized. They were, rightly so. I mean, it was terrible what happened there. You can look up, I believe it was the Eagle Creek fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was arson, right? It was like,
yeah. I mean, it was a 15-year-old kid filming himself on his channel throwing firecrackers or fireworks. I don't know what kind. Fireworks into a gully kind of an area. And
which sounds brilliant. Sounds brilliant, right?
Well, I mean, an older lady came by and told him to stop, and he told her to, piss off, whatever. So yeah, what is a very nonviolent, love each other, can't we all get along kind of town? They wanted to skin that kid alive.
I bet they did.
I mean, there's no mercy. And I get it. But anyway, they gave him like this ridiculous fine. Like it was
Something
like,
that he'll never be able to pay.
yeah, it was like 35 million or 300 million or something stupid. And you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like the dude's never ever going to be able to. I don't get that like at all. Like
I don't know. I mean, I guess it just hangs him with something for the rest of his life, kind of an idea, because you
yeah,
can't. I don't know. I mean, the ideas of trying him as an adult and all of that, and just being done with it that way, seems like that could be in the conversation. But whatever.
right.
Because I mean, that was a pretty big event.
Yeah,
Just
it was news back
all
here.
man. I mean that put a lot of people in harm's way, and obviously destroyed a lot of nature.
Yeah,
Um,
put a lot of
but
people
any
out of work.
Yeah, but so in that same area, they want to, sell Nestle bottling rights to the water that goes through
Mhm.
there, so that Nestle can then sell it all back to us. I mean, you're like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, although I assume they just bottle it down to California. I don't know, but there's a ton of people who drink bottled water here, and I mean, we have
The best water in the world.
the best. Yeah, and my little suburban town is planning to, because Portland water is too expensive, has that kind of tinge of keeping the suburbs great.
Right. Yeah.
Um, we're not going to be on that liberal Portland water system.
Uh,
We're going to go for this shitty well system that is it tastes just terrible. So I don't know, but I guess we got that in store for us, so that's too bad. What else is going on?
I still don't like hot sauce.
I did not do any work to try to find one for you. Sorry.
If we want to go back there, I don't know, man.
Did your
It's like
did your mom hear about greens, and if so, was there fallout?
there's been no fallout yet.
Okay.
So maybe we need to clip that and put that together as a special deal, and and see what we have.
You're
But
saying your mom doesn't make it through the whole episode? I don't blame
no, 3 hours is a little long for her.
her.
She usually gets through the first part.
It's a shout out, though.
You know,
it is a legit
and then
shout-out.
whatever I clip for her, she'll go through and read that.
No, that's what it's about.
But,
So, have you been sporting it up with the footballs? I have not enjoyed any at all, so I kind of rely on others to keep me up to speed. Is it?
Yeah, man. I there's a lot going on with the NFL, and I'm enjoying it. My team is not doing as well as they have been in the past, but that's okay. We're okay with that because we want a high draft. We're okay with losing games this year. We're in kind of.
So are you guys already in mail it in mode, and you're going to lose out forever?
Well,
and
the thing is, we kind of started the season in mail it in mode. Just because we knew that we weren't going to make the playoffs this year.
I don't know if that's you or I, but there might be a B in the system.
That really? Is like, I don't know. That might be my.
You might have important things going on, but
is that better?
I don't know. I'll let you know next time it doesn't do it.
Okay. Was it like a constant buzzing, or did it just?
No, just like an occasional.
Okay. That might have been my.
I may have to look into tech support, but anyhow.
Yeah. So I mean,
did you have a good Thanksgiving? Even though your team did your team play on Thanksgiving?
No, we didn't.
Cowboys.
We played this Sunday. Yeah. Good God. Okay. Cowboys are god awful. I'm a huge sports fan. I watch all sports, football. Well, I take that back. I don't like baseball. So baseball, greens, hot sauce, they're all kind of in the same.
Anti-American pie.
Well, I mean, I've never really been a big baseball guy. I mean, like back in the day when, we had a minor league team in our city, I would just go for Thirsty Thursday. I I mean, I appreciate baseball. It's a sport, but like growing up, I was never really a Mariners fan because we didn't have a team in Portland, and that was the closest team to us. But I was never really a big baseball fan. In the '90s, had a buddy from Chicago, a guy we worked with, and he kind of had me adopt the White Sox as my team, and so
nice.
I followed the White Sox for about 10 years. Even went to Chicago with him and saw a White Sox game, which was really awesome, to go to the new Comiskey Park, and that was awesome. But after I moved to Charlotte and I wasn't hanging around with my buddy anymore, I really kind of fell out of love with baseball. Now, there was a time where the Montreal Expos were supposed to be moving to Portland. I don't know if you remember that. It was right around the time that the Quebec, what was the name of Quebec's team? Remember when the hockey team and the baseball team were supposed to move into Portland? Remember that? Right around
vaguely, like a long.
Quebec. Yes.
Is that like when the Rose Garden got built and they were actually with the idea that that a hockey team was going to be there?
Yes. And it was like this close, and then they ended up going to Denver and becoming the Colorado Avalanche. But that team was slated to come to Portland.
Wow, good thing we didn't miss out on anything cool.
Yeah, no. Remember, that was when I got into NHL 94. That was right around.
Oh, like everybody rocking like hockey jerseys for some reason.
Yeah, because we were supposed to get that team, and I don't remember what exactly happened and why we didn't get it. But
the Blazers probably squashed it.
No, the Blazers were all for it.
Really?
Think about it. That was going to be 41 extra dates in their building.
That's what I thought the whole idea was. Because, I mean, there's an ice rink underneath it. Like the floor pulls away and there's right? And they never.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never it fell apart, which was too bad.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but that team ended up going to Denver and they became the Colorado Avalanche. And, they had Jeremy Roenick and dude was just badass on that game, man.
Well, and the goalkeeper, the
Patrick Waugh.
That's right. I swear to God.
Patrick Waugh.
Wow. Yeah. Because at one point, like it was like around 98 or 99. I went camping to a cabin, and there was, everybody piled in and got their rooms, and there's like an old TV, and somebody was like, "Oh, look, an Atari," and I was like, "Oh, cool, let's plug it in and fire it up. Nostalgia is going to be awesome. It's going to be so much fun. We'll have some beers. We'll play some old Atari games, classics." And I mean, like 5 minutes in, personally, I just kind of lost interest because, I mean, it, as cool as I remember it, when I fired it back up, it did not look near that good, and especially compared to that current day games. It looked like a one dot chasing the other dot,
which is pretty was.
Well, yeah, for sure. But I guess the thing is that, that was in, say, like 95, 96, 97, whenever the heck that was, 99, whenever I said that was. Let's round it up to 2000, even though I don't think it was that late. I really don't think it was. But from 2000 back to when that was going on, like the first video game, that was like in the late 70s, like Pong or whatever.
Pong, yeah.
So that's 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? So we're in that same gap now of
we've made
basically NHL 95 to now.
Yeah.
Not quite, but we're close. And I don't know if you still play any games now, but if I popped in NHL 95 right now, I'd be like, that looks pretty chunky and gross. But the kids love the Roblox. The kids love the Minecraft. And I mean, the most like literal, like 8-bit looking graphics, that's what's hot.
I mean, if you put in like a NASCAR game right now, you think you're watching a race. I mean,
oh, for sure.
That good. I mean, they are that 100%. Good.
Do you play them? They look fun. I mean,
Yeah.
because like I've seen like YouTube videos of people, they have like a setup where it's like
Yeah, the
they have like
simulator.
the seat,
Yep.
steering wheel, the little pedals down below,
Yeah.
shifter,
Yeah.
many TVs, and that's, I mean, even the pros will train on those.
Yes. Well, when COVID started, they were running iRacing on TV with
Like
all.
e-events.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the drivers were in their respective houses, and they were racing against each other in their simulators, and they were running
Nice.
on TV. And I tuned in, and I'm like, if I didn't know that this was a simulation, and I just turned it on, I think, oh damn, the race is on. Like it was that good.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's fun though. But like, is there any drop off in viewers because the stands are empty? I mean, or is there a big uptick in viewers because the stands are empty because that many more people have to watch from home?
So the ratings were down for the NBA. The ratings were down for Major League Baseball. I think the ratings have been kind of flat for golf. I thought the ratings for all sports would be through the roof because everybody's at home.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just because of COVID and people just have found other things to do. I mean, I put it this way. I watched 3 baseball games the whole season. 3. I watched every Blazers game that I could see, and I watched most basketball games, but I watch every football game. So it's hard to say like why the ratings are down and why people aren't watching. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a huge sports fan. I prefer to listen to things on the radio more than I do on TV, just because I just like that medium a little bit better. Plus I can get things done. So this year is like the first year since 2014 that I haven't gone to every home game for the Panthers because I've had season tickets.
Right, for sure.
So it's a little bit different watching a home game on TV because for the last 6-7 years, I've never really seen a home game on TV. I've always and then when I'm at the game, I'll have the little radio in and I'm watching the game and I can hear what they're talking about on the radio.
Nice.
So watching the whole, it's just weird, like seeing the stadium. Like I'm there every Sunday. So I don't know. I either like to be there in person or probably listen to it on the radio. And I never had season tickets to the Blazers growing up just because I was young and really couldn't afford it. But when I moved to Charlotte, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go and get season tickets. And it's great, dude. There's nothing like a live sporting event, especially a live sporting event, a live football NFL sporting event. To me, it's like the best thing, just the crowds and the chants. And, now we have a soccer team that we're going to have here in a couple of years. And I'm kind of looking forward to that also.
Yeah, I've been to a Blazer game, and that was decent. I mean, that's fun. Don't get me wrong, but I will say, when I got to go to one Timbers game at Portland Timbers as they are in the MLS. We used to go way back when for Thirsty Thursday, like you say.
Yeah.
They had that for baseball. They had that for soccer. It was in the same stadium. Yeah. It was just come on Thursday. Doesn't matter what ball's getting kicked around or thrown around, just have it for a quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
You're good to go. And the stadium was tame and mild, and there wasn't a lot going on back then. However, now, holy crap. I went, gosh, it was probably like 4 years ago, maybe now.
Oh, and they're letting off flares and there's chants and
it's good. It is packed to the it was packed to the gills, and yeah, people are screaming and chanting, singing in unison, like it's very organized. There's a certain section that's like super supporters, and they have a drum and they have a person that leads them in singing, and then the rest of the stadium kind of goes along with it as they see fit. And that was an experience. And what was neat was that I started seeing specific things that were only in soccer stadiums, like
Mm-hmm.
the way that they sing and chant. It's very soccer style.
Mm-hmm.
Those things started showing up at Blazer games.
Interesting.
Same fans. I mean, it's a small town, you know.
Right.
They
It just bled over.
Oh man. And what was neat was that the players were not used to it. The players, because like in soccer, well, I mean, if you do something bad, they might sing your name in a different way. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do something good, or if you're just a hero, like Diego Maradona, I don't know if you know who he is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He just passed away.
Yep.
And so he was infamous for a World Cup moment, which we may be able to show a picture of without getting sued. I don't know.
The hand of God.
Hand of God.
Hand of God.
Cheating like a son of a bitch. But anyway, I mean, the way that the fans they sing names, you know, they sing songs to the players, to each other, whatever. It's a very specific thing. And so, like I said, that started showing up in Blazer games. And like one of the specific things was singing somebody's name when they were doing really well. And so like Lillard, like when he was kind of first coming into his own and like not like the super mega star that he is now. It was, like I said, it was a few years ago. And he was having a crazy good game like he always did. And people just started singing his name.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a soccer thing. It's not a basketball thing. That doesn't really happen in basketball.
Right.
It's starting to now. I've heard it when I watch hoops all the time. It's starting to happen in other stadiums now. But it was just so neat because like the fans will continue to do it for like a long time, like several minutes. They'll do it. Like he even went to the bench because he was looking around on the floor like, why are they? I mean, it was cool, but he was like, what the heck?
Right. Yeah.
And even when he was on the bench, they still kept singing, you know, and he was like, you know, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it was neat seeing that. There's definitely a core group of fans, and you wouldn't think that Portland is such a sports nut city. It turns out it kind of is. I mean, we have been for a long time. We just haven't had anything really awesome to cheer about.
Right.
Except for college football, I guess people got really stoked about that with the Ducks, as your mugs point out right
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mugs there. And
Yeah.
then
were you a Duck fan when they were terrible?
I was.
Okay, good for you.
I remember the old days when the Civil War was like 3-3 and 0-0, you know. Well, so it goes back to like high school. So, you know, I went to Central, and Central has had a long history of sending people from there to the Ducks.
Okay.
Like every year, like our top 2 or 3 people went to U of O.
Mm.
And Joey Harrington played.
There you go. Right.
Went to Central Catholic. Good kid. He's younger than us. Good kid. But when my freshman year at Central, you know, our top quarterback and our top running back were being heavily recruited by the Ducks, and it was just kind of like everybody was like, "This is a Duck school." You know, this is our pipeline. People go from Central to either UW or to the Ducks, and it was just like you either went to Seattle or Eugene. And I was like, screw Seattle. I hate Seattle. So I became a Ducks fan like my freshman year in high school. Like, you know, as a kid, you know, you kind of watched it, but when it was like so-and-so, I played with him and now he's on TV. And then it was just kind of cool. And then the Beavers were never really any good. And I didn't know anybody that played on the Beavers, but I knew 4 or 5 people that played on the Ducks that were my age. And then they started the pros, and then it was like, all right, I'm a Ducks
I just like to follow up on that sentiment of fuck Seattle.
fan.
Because we've never had a football team here, right?
Right,
You know, it's not like we had a basketball team and lost it,
right, exactly. Like some
but
people,
we've just never had one. And,
right.
and but yet we've always kind of been like people got, oh, you must just root for the Seahawks. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I know. People always ask me, "No, you're from Portland. You must be a Seahawks fan." I'm like, I'm not from Seattle.
Why would I would just as much root for Frisco
Yeah.
as
I grew up a
when
Raiders
I
fan.
was a kid. That was the thing. When I was a kid, I liked Frisco and the Raiders.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah, I grew up a
mean,
Raiders fan.
so whatever. And just because we don't have a football team, I'm not like defaulting to when we hate Seattle for literally like the junior hockey here, the Winter Hawks. Like I
Mhm,
went to a lot of those games when I was younger with
mhm,
my old man.
mhm.
Those were violent. I
Yes.
mean, and
Yes, they
thinking
were.
about that, I mean, you're talking about like teenagers
Mhm.
being cheered on by a stadium of 20,000 or 12,000 because the Coliseum's small. People just screaming out of their minds
Yeah.
for
Side
these
note,
kids to kick the shit out of each other.
do you
Right?
do
Oh
you
my god.
remember do you remember the sellout capacity of the Memorial Coliseum?
I don't know the exact number, but it was like I know it was
12
like
it was 12,666.
God dang it. Was it really? I
Yeah.
swear I can't say I was gonna say that, but
Yeah, 12,666. It's one
how
of the
awesome is that? What a
yeah,
crazy number.
12,666. That's
I,
so Portland.
so silly.
That's so
But I
Portland.
mean that place is awesome and it was a great place to take in an event. I mean, it's small by most standards now, obviously. I mean, not even 13,000 people. That's a
Right.
tiny little stadium. But it was super fun to watch hockey there and like I said, junior hockey. So I mean, these are like, teenagers at best and
Yeah, they're like 15, 16 years old.
I mean,
Something.
yeah, some of them, I mean, I don't think any of them were 20.
Right.
Um but anyway, that was like the thing to go to back when you could smoke inside. And
Oh, God. I
I
don't
mean,
remember
it
people smoking inside.
man, I mean, and but just like that the hockey was like
Yeah.
I mean, when Seattle was in town, I just remember once like there was like a brawl where when they like the guys like people off the bench, like piled on, cleared each. I mean, guys were taking like full skates across the ice to pick people off and stuff. Just
Yeah.
ugly stuff. And
Yeah.
like when they finally cleared it all off, I mean, there was like a stain of blood like on the ice. I mean, it had to be like 15 feet across. I mean, it was just crazy. Get the Zamboni out and wash that
Those
stuff
winter
off a
hot
little bit.
games were crazy, man. But I mean, I never liked Seattle growing up. I never liked anybody from Seattle. I never
Well,
liked Seattle.
um,
It was just it smelled like fish. I mean, it was just it was I mean, I'm not gonna
here's the thing. Look,
American City. It's just
it's not like they're so close to Canada. It's like they're like half Canadian. It's not because it's not. Seattle's awesome. I mean, it's a beautiful town. It just is. It's a crazy, weird city. Great music has come from there
mm-hmm,
for many generations.
mm-hmm.
Um, I don't follow any new stuff now, I guess, so I don't know. But um, yeah, sport wise, screw them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we,
I don't
we
know.
we spent a good amount of time up in Seattle. I mean, I remember I found that picture of us at the marina that I sent to you a few months back.
I know that was
Back when
awesome.
we were working at the record store, and
That was so good.
we had a couple crazy nights up that way.
Yeah, no, that was fun. And again, just that difference of timeline from doing stuff like that. You have a picture from it, from an actual picture that you took from whatever camera at the time, developed the
Yeah.
film, and held on to the picture.
Yeah.
You know, versus the ultra thousands of pictures you've got on stored away on the cloud or whatever that
Yeah.
you may or may not ever see again. Cause I mean,
Right.
there's thousands of them. How are you ever
Yeah.
going to get to them all? Um, I mean, God, my kid gets hold of my phone for a second and there's 600 new photos that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
You know, so, um,
Yeah, man. Crazy times back then.
yeah, but so what'd you do for Thanksgiving? What'd you have? Did you do the normal turkey and whatnot?
Yeah, turkey, ham, yams, mashed potatoes,
No greens.
macaroni and cheese. No, didn't do any greens. No greens touch my lips. Uh, but the traditional normal stuff.
Okay.
Ate a lot, had a lot of leftovers. Got up this morning, made a little elk turkey / ham sandwich with some mashed potatoes and some macaroni and cheese all put together in the
You
bread.
put all that into a sandwich.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Nice.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you
I use the mashed potatoes as kind of the substitute for mayonnaise, and then I put a layer of mashed potatoes on each piece of bread, and then I put a layer of macaroni and cheese, and then ham on one side of the bread and turkey on the other side of the bread. Put that bad boy together, cut it in fours, and ate
do you insta bang that before you eat it?
it. A little bit.
Do you? Okay. Um yeah, I like to see that concoction. Um I don't know why, you know, just that whole phenomenon of taking pictures of food is, I mean, how many terabytes are devoted to storage of pictures of food?
Probably a lot.
I'm guessing a lot.
I mean, I don't know. I made some pretty good nachos the other night, and I actually did take some pictures of my nachos. I did. Oh, here, let me. This is great TV. Let me send it to you. Picture of my nachos. It was ridiculous.
No, I believe it. I was gonna pull up a picture if I have one. Otherwise, I'm just gonna tell it to you of our dinner. That was, dang it, I don't have it. That was just tremendous.
You had the Indian buffet, right? It
Yes. Um,
was good.
yeah, it was chicken korma,
Okay.
just kind of which I just associate as kind of like yellow curry chicken is
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
kind of what I call that, but a black dal, which is kind of like beans,
Okay.
and then some fancy like this, I don't know, whatever spices they put in the rice to make it crazy golden colored rice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the naan. I mean, like,
I don't.
and they made, and like her and my oldest kiddo made all this like from scratch, like from the spices, putting them together and grinding them together, and like all the way through. And he was loving this cooking. I
He
mean,
was all about it, huh?
oh my gosh. And I mean, he's telling me all about it. You know, he's like, it's amazing how many spices are in this. You know, because we've talked about, I do kind of history during school because it doesn't seem like he gets any history yet. So I figure why not? There's a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah, fun things we can talk about. And we've talked briefly about like the Spice Road and how that kind of fueled everybody trying to get everywhere at the time, all because of spices. And
Right.
how crazy is that? I mean, people were going across the ocean
To get spices.
for spices, and you're
You
like,
get cinnamon and
like how good are spices, and we don't even realize it. I mean, but then they make a meal like this where they were putting, I mean, it was like a dozen different spices together to make some of these dishes. It was crazy. But super delicious. So good. I mean, we had one huge full meal like around 11 or noon, and then we were stuffed until like 6 or 7, and then we did it again, and then that was the end of that.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so good.
Nice. Yeah, Thanksgiving was good. It was a little more subdued this year for obvious reasons,
Mm.
um, more so than years in past. But it was just good to be, because I mean, here's the thing: the only difference between Thanksgiving and any other day is people like consciously sit down and have a meal together, right? I mean, that's all it is, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the getting together part with people that you maybe don't usually get together with. That's
That's what I'm
all.
saying. Because I mean, you can have
Right.
Thanksgiving in the middle of March if you had people that you didn't really see. You all get
For
together,
sure.
cooked a
Yes.
big meal, So it for a lot of people, Thanksgiving is their favorite holiday because there's no expectation around it. Like Christmas, there's gifts and Easter. There's this expectation at church, but Thanksgiving really is all kind of like it's kind of like high school. Remember homecoming, where like
Mm.
it was the one day where everybody, no matter where you were, would come to the stadium and watch the game, and you're like, dude,
Mm.
I've seen this guy in 6 years, and that's kind of like what Thanksgiving is. It's kind of homecoming. There's no outside expectation of you performing some task other than sitting down eating a plate of food.
See, my wife would probably feel a little different because she would feel that there's a huge expectation of task of everybody's coming over, start cooking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay,
And
fair,
because
fair, fair.
she's like starting to put shit together like weeks in advance.
Yeah,
Um,
I've never cooked a Thanksgiving meal, so
man,
I can.
I've only been on cleanup duty, because like I get booted out of the kitchen because like I'm like here, let me help, and she used to be like, okay, fine, chop some vegetables, and then start doing it. Oh, you're not chopping them right. I'm like, well, they're going from bigger to littler, so that But to be fair, I'm almost positive that at one point at my mother-in-law's house, like the first visit, I offered to help, and she was like, "Oh, that's very nice." I won't attempt the accent, but she said it's very nice, and I think she even let me try. And then, bam, I tried, and bam, just get out.
You got
You
kicked
know,
out, yeah.
so she's like, "Oh, that's that." She's like, "No, that no, no, it's not that." Mm-mm. So I, I get stuck on cleanup duty, which is fine. It's appreciated. Like I when they spend that much effort in putting that thing together, when I put in that effort of cleaning up, which is a huge effort, because damn, I mean everything in the kitchen is dirty
Yeah,
at least once over. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
And it's nice because there aren't so many people, and so you don't have to make as much and clean up as much. Those parts are nice. But the whole thing is still, I mean, short of like, hey, if we're popping a pizza in the oven, I mean, but she went, my wife went the extra step. I mean, like I said, that all the from scratch and such a neat, different flavor going on that I never would associate with Thanksgiving.
hmm
Um, so it was good. I'm glad yours was good too. I kind
yeah,
of missed,
man.
I kind of missed turkey. I got to be honest. I'm not usually a big turkey fan until I didn't get to have it this year, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, mm,
Yeah,
mm, no, no gravy, no taties.
yeah. I
Dang. But yeah,
in years past, I've kind of gravitated to the ham. Um,
right, nice.
there's something just about like a piece of ham on your plate, a piece of white meat, a piece of dark meat, mashed potatoes and gravy in the middle, and
Mm.
then macaroni and cheese. Like to me, and then a roll. Like
What about the cranberry? Do you do the cranberry, or are you not a cranberry
I don't think
person?
I'm not really a
Which
cranberry.
that surprises me because I see you kind of leaning towards no on the cranberry, and that shocks me because that's like jelly. And I mean, I remember you eating like Monte Cristos, like at it wasn't Rialto. What was the other place that was up
Um,
by the Nordstrom's? store. You
It
know
was
what I'm
on the
talking
second
about.
floor. It was on the second
Yeah, you know what I'm talking
building.
about.
Red Coach.
I'll have to take your word for it, but
Wasn't it Red Coach? Isn't that
I
what
don't
it's
think it.
called?
I don't think it was. I don't think that's the name of it. I think it was something
Okay.
else. But I don't know. But I remember you getting
No,
Monte
no.
Cristo.
Red Coach was the place that had the really good burgers.
I still don't know. I don't remember the name of that place. I don't that name of the restaurant does not ring a bell. It might be, but I just remember that place because it was not Rialto. Because Rialto, I'd like to share the Rialto with some folks real quick. So Portland, there's a bar called Rialto. I think it's still probably there. It's got to be. And it was everything you could imagine in a pool hall / off-track betting in the basement and booze.
It was
That's what was going on.
Rialto had a little bit of everything, and then they had video poker also.
For sure. Okay. Are you are you a video poker player?
No,
Okay.
I mean I've played it, but like
some folks get enthusiastic about that, but
So remember, I worked at the bar.
Right. So you saw some video poker enthusiasm.
So I knew the odds, and the odds were really bad and not in the player's favor. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah. Hold on. I'm sending you something in the chat.
Okay. I almost wanted to ask you about like, what was the
odds of video poker?
No, like, the craziest thing you saw at the bar.
Oh, good God. Remember, it was a bar in Hillsboro, Oregon. So look at that link. Do you remember those people? You got to remember those people.
I'm working on it here. Sorry. Oh my God. Oh.
So
I don't see any pictures though.
Do you see the link?
I clicked on it.
And it didn't bring up the link?
It did. But it's
there's no
but there are no photos.
There's no photos?
I'm sorry.
I got a photo for you.
Oh, wait. No, I see it's still just. Oh, that lady. I recognize that lady.
Yeah. That place.
Why do I recognize her? We must have gone there like all the time to eat. Holy crap.
Yeah, okay. It was the Red Coach. That was an institution. We go there all the time. That was the place by Nordstrom's that was on the second floor. I will remind you guys, if you like what you hear, or even if you don't like what you hear, please send us a comment, like our page, share our page, turn on notifications. It's a great way to keep in contact of what we have going on. We really like doing this show, and we're looking for a little more fan interaction. Drop a comment on the page. Let us know what you think. Some people are giving me a hard time because I don't like hot sauce, and I live in the South. And I don't like sauerkraut, and I live in the South. But, I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. And some people say that there are really good hot sauces out there. I haven't found a hot sauce that I like. But if you have a hot sauce that you think I like, go ahead and share it in the comments. Make sure you turn on notifications so when you put it in and we see it, we can respond right back to you. And then you can let us know what you think about that. But yeah, I'm not a big hot sauce guy. I'm not a big spicy food guy. I get a lot of junk from my friends. They call me Mr. Chicken Rice because things are kind of bland. But I like to taste the food. And not the hot sauce. Just like to taste the food.
Chicken and rice is good.
Chicken and rice is
chicken and rice. I mean, like chicken and rice soup. Chicken noodle soup. Do you do chicken noodle soup or do you do chicken and rice?
I like chicken noodle soup.
Have you ever had it with rice?
I have.
Ah, okay.
I have, yeah. I've tried about everything once. Most things I don't try a second time, but
Have you tried balut?
I don't know what balut is. What's that?
I bet you ain't tried that. Go ahead and Google that. I don't even want it on my Google.
Is it that bad?
And that is a Filipino or Filipina, if you're a lady,
Mm-hmm.
that likes that nasty stuff from the islands.
Does it have cabbage in it?
Go ahead and Google it. Let's get a Jamal reacts to balut.
How do you spell that?
BALUT. Dinner time.
What the heck is that?
That's some snackings.
Partially shelled balut egg showing yolk, baby chicken, and veins running through it.
Right. So, folks, let me go ahead and bring you in on balut. If you're not familiar, balut is a fertilized egg that is like chicken egg that is then allowed to grow into a little chick, and a fellow will grab the egg and hold it up to a light. That's how he tells when it's ready, because if he can still see through it, it's not ready yet, right? Because it's still forming. But as soon as it's like solid, but boom, you're ready to go. Your balut is done. You crack that open, and inside you find, what do you find? A little treasure that doesn't look like an egg anymore. It looks like a chicken. And you just go, nom, 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 nom.
Okay, so this is how pandemics get started.
Woof, right?
Right? The coronavirus has started from some dude eating a bat.
Allegedly.
Unless it was made in some Chinese laboratory. But anyways, I don't want to go down.
I think you have to say extra allegedly there. Because
Allegedly.
then you get Chinese people like, what did I see today? That North Korea tried to steal or hack South Korea to get their vaccine information or something. That's my news tip for today.
Why?
Are you hungry? Do you want to try some snackins? Balut, perhaps? Jamal around the world.
This is the reason why I eat just bland, basic food. It's because of things like this.
That might be kind of bland, kind of crunchy occasionally.
To me, this just says like I'm gonna get some kind of bacteria that my body doesn't know how to fight off, something like that.
The gut bacteria of folks that have balut as a steady part of their diet. You gotta imagine, do they get sick ever? I mean,
no, probably not. They probably got sick when they built up a tolerance to this, but
so anyway, that's
it's just like eating scrapple and liver mush and all that. No.
I don't know, dude. I think I would if you had a choice, you're gonna sit down at the table. Buffet today is scrapple, liver mush, or balut.
I'm gonna get a pillow and a blanket and go to sleep and wake up and eat breakfast in the morning.
In a New York minute, you would look right past that nasty egg because you know what's inside. Now, if you didn't know what's inside, and you're like, "Oh, I'll have eggs."
Well, I don't eat a lot of eggs anyway.
Man, what? Okay, so
I don't.
Why none? Just no eggs at all? No
Not
fried
really.
eggs?
No.
Yeah, fried egg sandwich.
No.
Omelet. I like omelets.
I might have an omelet like once every 3 or 4 months. I don't do a lot of eggs. It messes with my stomach. Like eggs and milk products just like mess with my stomach a little bit. So I tend to shy away from them, which is really.
Are you sure that's what it is?
Oh, I'm positive. Oh yeah.
Okay.
My wife will make a quiche.
Oh, and then pow.
And then I eat the quiche, and then a couple hours later, it's blowing up in the house, and I'm like,
yeah, no, that's no good.
Yeah.
A quiche is delicious too. That's just like egg pie.
Dude, right? She puts down. She'll make a quiche, and I'll eat a little bit, and then sometimes I'll be eating, and I'm like, "Ooh, boy, all right, as long as I know what's gonna happen, it's all good." So I'll eat an omelet, but I'll eat an omelet at home. I won't eat an omelet like out in the field, unless you know what I'm saying.
You don't got the rucksack with you.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, like I gotta get this off of my computer. Oh,
Hey, okay, I'm gonna switch a gear with you here.
yeah.
Did you
Oh,
see about the Utah monolith?
the Utah monolith.
Clearly, I mean everybody has heard about that now. So I can send it to you. You can just Google it. So can everybody else. The Utah
Utah
monolith,
monolith. I'm looking at it right now.
and it was found a couple of days ago by
Oh,
some.
dude, what the hell is that?
It was found by like rangers
Yeah.
This is in Utah, in some pretty remote region of the desert in Utah. These park ranger guys were flying, I believe, their helicopter, and they were
Mm-hmm.
sheep counters. And apparently, the story was that they get really low counting sheep, so low that they can tell the gender of the sheep.
There's a joke in there, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Man, I'm just picturing in your mind, a chopper floating sideways across the desert, chasing a
Yeah.
herd of sheep, peering for some sheep nuts. Um, the binos that they've got to be using, right? I mean, come on, those are like government spec that you could pick out.
Oh yeah.
Freaking, dude, you could pick out like Saddam Hussein hiding in his bunker or
Exactly.
goat nuts.
Or sheep. Yeah, sheep's gonads. So
Yeah,
the monolith made of.
aluminium, I believe, and there's rivets in it that are plainly visible.
Yeah, I
Um,
can see the rivets.
but again, it's super remote. It is not on public roads. There are roads nearby, but what it would take to get that thing in there and then actually get it in there, however deep it
Yeah.
is. Anyway, that's the fun, weird little thing for the day. The
So
Utah monolith.
what is the what do we think it is?
Clearly, it's aliens.
I mean that thing is it's polished in wow.
Is it just an art installation?
But who would put
Somebody
an
being
art
silly,
installation way out there in the desert like that?
knowing eventually that somebody will find it and go, "Oh,
I mean, that thing is like
somebody
polished
planning
on
way ahead."
that thing's like polished on all four sides. I'm gonna have to do some research into this. These kind of things intrigue me because remember, allegedly there was
Mm.
a monolith that was found in the pictures on Mars, and all of a sudden it's not there anymore. Remember that from a few years back? They said it was a lighting and shadow illusion. That it wasn't really a monolith. It was
Wow, interesting.
around the time. It was around the time they found the face on Mars. Do you remember the face on Mars?
That for sure, and that they eventually said that that was like
An
dirt.
optical illusion.
Yeah.
Is what they say. So apparently, so essentially, there was a monolith near that they said also was something giving us some funky shadow. But like, this is crazy when you look at like where they found it. Like,
Are you actually looking on a map where that is?
yes,
Like
I am.
like GPS coordinates?
Yes, it is.
Is
Like
it super remote?
it's super remote, like super remote.
I mean,
Like,
again, if you had a chopper, I guess nothing's remote or a plane.
right,
But
but
I mean,
it's
you gotta go through a lot of effort to do that shit.
it's it's like the nearest city is Moab, and it's probably 40 or 50 miles from Moab, but it's like in the middle of the desert. There's like
Well, now I will say a lot of people recreate in Moab. I mean, they just do mountain biking is a
but
massive
how
thing
many
there.
people bring like a 15-foot stainless steel monolith with them to Moab?
I'm just saying maybe they're into CrossFit or something.
Maybe so. Yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen CrossFit people, by the way? Are you familiar?
Dude, CrossFit people are crazy.
Okay, cool. So you have.
Oh yeah, there's dude. CrossFit is all over Charlotte.
Are you a fan?
I'm not a fan.
I want to bag on it, like, well, I mean, I might still
No,
anyway, but
I mean, I'm
prepare
not a
yourself, I guess.
fan, but like I don't know if I would ever do it. I mean, it's like I know people who are CrossFit, who do CrossFit, and who are vegetarian because they tell me all the time. But like
I just don't. Is CrossFit just equal? No, I don't need a trainer. I'll do this shit myself.
I think so.
And because I was always under the impression that having a trainer was not just for motivation, like to get you to go do it, but also to do it properly, to have the proper form and
Yes,
technique.
yes,
And because
instructional.
yeah, because if you do a push up incorrectly or a sit up incorrectly or whatever incorrectly, you could
Injure
either,
yourself.
yeah, you could injure yourself, or you might not get the workout that you think that you're getting, because you're actually using other muscles instead of the ones that you think that you're using.
Right.
um
Yeah.
right, and but CrossFit just seems to be like, nah, just like one amazing internet meme I've seen is a guy doing pull-ups, right, and he's just doing them over and over, and it just keeps counting, like, number of pull-ups, 0, 0, 0, 0. Because he's just like,
Because he's doing it wrong.
oh, well, I mean, he's just doing like this weird, like, he's got so much momentum from cranking his arms that he's like just ninja warrioring his, like, I don't know, it just looks stupid. um I don't know. Who was it? Herschel Walker, wasn't he the one that was famous for
Never lifted weights. He
all
did
sit-ups and push-ups,
push-ups.
right?
Yes, sit-ups and push-ups. Yep. Yep. And he was like a rock. He was like he was like a rock.
Yeah.
Can't believe you just dropped this Utah monolith thing on me. Now all I want to do is go research it.
I can't believe you didn't even hear about it.
I
stumped Jamal.
Yeah, man. This is wow.
You're all stoked. You're about to go, like,
The exact location is so
with,
remote. So here's the deal. The exact location is so remote that officials are not revealing it publicly, worried that people might get lost or stranded trying to find it.
That would be you.
Rescued.
See, that would be you. You'd be like, baby, I've got to go to Utah. Why? It's because of a monolith. I'll be back. And then you would be gone, and you would be hunting for monolith in the desert, and they would have to come find you, and they would be picking you up with like a bus full of other people that got stuck out in the desert.
Can I tell you this? If it was financially viable for me, last September I was going to go to Area 51. I was thinking about doing it.
Man, part of that whole bum rush. Come on, man.
I wanted to go.
What
just
were you
to
trying
watch
to
the
do?
carnage.
Just get
no.
blasted? I mean,
I wanted to sit on the ridge with the camera and watch the shot. I wasn't.
That's okay. See, now that's different. I guess it's fine. Good. Let's be clear. You were not going to try to rush the gate.
Oh God, no.
I just wanted to make sure, because
I wanted to watch to see what kind of weaponry they would show us had in there to mow everybody down, like some hyper beam laser weapon that would just come out of the ground and just vaporize everybody. And I'm sitting up on the ridge watching it. Like, that's what
everybody get one quick show.
Oh man,
before they go. Yeah, no, that okay. Well, that's valid. The rest of that nonsense. I mean, you know, it. Yes, we get it. There's weird stuff that maybe goes on there. Obviously, it's not something that they want us to see. And
right.
Just like every other military base that they don't want you in, they really mean it. I mean,
right.
I mean, my in-laws, my father-in-law is retired from the Air Force, but they live near the base. And so when we would visit, like, I got to go on base once for like a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you get checked in, and I mean, they are not playing, I mean, and there's people getting checked in and out of the base all day long. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a big base it's like a little city. But it's a little city where you stop at the gate. And even my wife was like, she's like, they're not playing, just don't be stupid. I'm like, what am I going to be doing? She's like, I don't know. Just don't be stupid. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they don't play at the gate. Um, and she was right. They don't. And I didn't do anything stupid. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, I mean, but they were nice. They weren't
Right.
rude or anything. But I was just there to visit for a wedding, and so it was all good. But I can only imagine if you're like, hey, here we are, gonna come running at you
And that's
in
not
our
even,
RVs.
and that's not even like a top secret base.
Yeah, but I mean,
Much
that's the
less a
thing.
base
Yeah,
that for
for
like
sure.
50 years didn't exist. And it was only like when Clinton was on his way out the door, like, oh yeah, actually this does exist.
um. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I'm curious too. I love fun, interesting things. Um, but you got to know that they're probably not playing around either. So,
Oh no.
um,
I honestly, and this is morbid, and I know this is terrible, but
nah, you want to see some shit go down, or it. How about this? I don't want to see it go down, but if it does, I want to be there.
I honestly wanted to see if the Air Force would follow through with like dropping a bomb on 100,000 people outside the gate. Like I
Well,
want
there wasn't even that many that showed up. I mean, how many people
no,
even
there was
showed
like
up?
30,000 people that showed up.
Was there really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Not
my
everybody
god!
came to the gate, but they the dude that organized it turned it into a music festival in Rachel, Nevada, which is right down the road.
Okay, that sounds a little better.
Yeah, yeah. But I honestly wanted to see like what level of weaponry they were going to use, whether they were just going to come out with troops and just arrest people, or whether like some big hole in the ground was going to open up and it was going to. I just wanted to see like what
The
kind of
desert octopus would come out and eat them all.
what kind of toys are we going to get to see? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
what?
probably none. None is my guess. So, um, shit. There. I mean, how many more toys do you want to see? They already were using the microwave emitters at. I want to say it was Chicago. It was like in the late summer or something. I like when one of the cities was calling out the National Guard and they were rolling out those things. I
Mm-hmm,
don't know if you're familiar with what those are.
mm-hmm.
A microwave emitter.
Yeah,
Um, in case for folks that aren't, it's like a microwave that gets pointed at you. So that's not nice.
that's not good
Um,
at all.
no, because like we all know, microwaves just boil water.
They just boil water, and
So,
like 90% water. So the thing about Area 51 is
mm,
the road, like 20 miles leading up to it, they've got the receptors in the ground. So whether you're like driving a car or tiptoeing, they can like as you're walking, they've got
mm.
they know exactly where you are. So
Do you want to hear my one spooky? Have you ever been by there at all? Like,
I have not.
you want to hear my one story?
Tell me.
Okay, I don't think I was near Area 51, but I was near the White Sands nuclear test range.
Which is right around the corner from it.
Okay, so
Close.
and this was is like where the clock starts going back, 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 back. I'm gonna say like 95.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and on a long, long road trip, and going through. We just got done passing through Texas, which took forever to drive through Texas.
Yes, Texas is large.
Large. And I think, I mean, again, X-Files was out,
Mm-hmm.
at that time
Mm-hmm.
or not far off from that. I think it was still playing. So I mean, I had heard about Area 51. I wanted to drive near it. And the closest I could figure was that highway that goes by the White Sands
Yeah.
test range. I don't remember which one it's called. But we went to because you can go to the White Sands. It's like White Sands National Monument or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a park, and it's a dune sea. It's just the desert, and it's a crazy. The sand feels like dried out brown sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very weird, like unusual kind of sand, and it's neat. It's a really cool location, and you can go walk around, and you're not supposed to take any sand, and I'm sure everybody does. Um,
Because it's radioactive, right? Or a little bit radioactive.
I don't know if it's that. I think it's just they don't want everybody to take a little bit of sand because then there won't be any of the cool white sands left.
Fair.
Or it might be radioactive because that's also where the Trinity site was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is where they dropped the first nuke
Mm-hmm.
to test it. Um, so I'm sure it's fine to walk around there.
Yeah, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, and along the highway there, like we left the actual dunes, and then we started heading west, I believe, whatever direction. Because I was like, okay, it's we're gonna go that way towards Area 51, but I didn't think we were going near it because that
Mm-hmm.
highway I don't think what I wasn't really sure. But I was
Right.
like, I think we're close enough. It's good enough for me. By the way, whatever. I mean, this is such a long road trip. I mean, we left Portland and went this way and then down to Florida and then back
Mm-hmm.
up. And so this was kind of the end of that long trip. So I was like, this is close enough that I'm gonna get to Area 51. This is cool. It's neat. The white sands were neat. There's like all these different like historical signs about the nuke tests. Like we pulled off by one, and there's like a bunker kind of thing, and it says like one of the tests was right here or near here,
Right.
and this was a
Yeah.
bunker that they watched it from. I'm like, wow, that's some stuff. And it's kind of later in the afternoon. We're driving along, and again, it's just flat, and there's like kind of mountains along the edge of the horizon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're just kind of driving through like a flat valley, and we're just driving along, and and the girl I was with goes, "Oh, that's a cool plane." Because I mean, I'm into planes, I'm into cars, I'm into
Yeah.
motorcycles,
Yeah.
whatever. And because we had just pulled off the road and looked at that bunker thing, and I didn't go across the fence. I'm not stupid. I'm not that
Mm-hmm. Right.
bold.
You don't want to get shot.
Yeah, but and it was a cool bunker thing, and there's a sign, and we just read the sign, whatever, and continued along. And anyway, so she's like, that's a cool plane. And I look, and again, this is 1995 ish,
Mm-hmm.
94, whatever. And I kind of look, and it's a freaking stealth fighter.
Really?
And I was like, oh shit. And I like slowed way, and I took my foot off the gas, almost stopped in the middle of the road. And like
Mm-hmm.
it flew over, and I could see dude. He's flying, looking down, because
Mm-hmm.
he does this, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like looking out the window, looking down at us, like flying past. I'm like, you don't really need to be that low, dude. I mean, you don't need to be that low in that kind of a plane, right? You go way up there, and don't you have all sorts of cool like radars and shit to look
Yeah,
at from that
exactly.
far away? Why are you buzzing us? That's nuts. Like I said, I mean, I could see his gold cockpit, and like the
Yeah.
little bricks in the vents when he flew past.
Could you hear it, or was it like silent, like they say?
I didn't really. I mean, I think the windows were up.
Okay.
It wasn't like exceptionally loud or anything. It wasn't like a boom or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so low, and I was like,
Right.
that's a stealth fighter.
That's awesome.
That's pretty neat. And it did like a turn, I was like,
Mhm.
wow, cool. So we continued on. And I don't know how much further, but we're getting kind of towards like the last bit of the valley to where you start to go up and out of it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like I swear, like off to the left, like way, it was weird because it was kind of like back behind. You could just see some buildings. I don't know what the hell they were, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we slow way down. We're just kind of cruising. And I think I stopped. I don't know if I had to pee or if I just stopped. But like across the valley, there's like the mountainside. And suddenly there was like two lights, like headlights. I'm like, oh, okay. And again, so like anything off the road is the military base.
Right. Yeah.
On both sides.
Right.
Um, so I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna get to see, now it's it was cool planes, maybe now it's cool trucks, and then boom, another pair of lights comes out. I'm like, huh? And then boom, another pair of lights come out. I'm like,
And they're just like
eh.
coming out of nowhere.
And well, they just come out of the side of the hill, like I don't know,
Okay. Yeah.
and then they just start making their way,
Like towards you.
just down the hillside. Now I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
And then I just left. And we made it all the way out, and nothing else happened. And on the, like I say, like on the way out, I could kind of see those other weird buildings, kind of behind a weird ridge line.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, it was weird because there's like shit all going. I mean, there's nothing, and then all of a sudden there's like a big kind of building structures going on, But whatever, that's the military. That's what they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty wild. The crazy cool jet followed by the trucks out of the side of the hillside.
Trucks out of the side of the hill. Yeah.
Yeah. That was about as close as I got to Area 51.
Yeah, man. Those guys that tried to storm it. That was. I mean, that was like going to be the ultimate train wreck. The ultimate train wreck, because
they would have just got tear gas so hard, dude.
Oh yeah, I
watched
watched
so many rubber
Channel.
bullets and tasers flying and drones dropping tasers. I don't know. I mean,
so I watched something on the History Channel or the Science Channel about the storming of Area 51, and they showed a tweet that got deleted in like 3 minutes, and it was from the U.S. Air Force, and it was a picture of a stealth fighter with like the battalion standing in front of the plane. And it said, "Millennials, if you storm Area 51, this is the last thing you'll see."
Oh my God.
Like in 3 minutes, but somebody
I would hope so. I mean, I don't think the Air Force needs to be like talking shit via Twitter to the American public. I mean, come on, man.
And I was like, so that's what I was like.
I guess, I mean, is that the same effect as like a bullhorn,
I guess so.
It had the same effect, I assume. Shut
I was like, oh, I've got to go and see this. Like they're doing that. Like I want to come over and drop it, and I've got to be just far enough away that I can watch this whole thing go down.
Man, like I say, I want neat, cool stuff too, but some people either got too much time on their hands or I don't know what, but
yeah,
I don't know, that not for me.
So what else is going on with you?
Let's see. Other than dropping mad, amazing, mind-breaking things about the universe and monoliths, bop. I can go with. Well, do you got one?
Go ahead. I've always got a couple, but like I'm like.
I was gonna follow up. I was gonna follow up with like from your snack that we talked about in a previous episode.
Yes.
I still got to try to reenact here for everybody. But it reminded me of another a snack that stood out to me that you enjoyed, which was the Cinnabon.
Dude, Cinnabon is the best.
But it wasn't just let's have a Cinnabon. It was stand back. I'm having some Cinnabon
with the extra frosting.
Man, folks, it was 2 Cinnabons with extra frosting, followed by the Mocha Lotta Chill.
Yeah.
Which was essentially everything it sounds like, a coffee milkshake kind of thing.
Dude, see, that was back when I used to drink coffee. Way back then, I can't do it.
The amount of coffee in that has to be like this much, right? I mean, come on, that's a milkshake.
It was like sugar milk.
I thought I had a sweet tooth, but dang.
But I can't do that stuff anymore. I can't do it.
I
can't. Like I said, I haven't had coffee in years. I can't do it anymore.
I don't know if I put coffee on the same scale as two Cinnabons with extra frosting and a mocha
No, no,
latte.
no. I'm talking about the mocha latte chill.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, do you still do the two Cinnabons with extra frosting at the same time?
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Dude, I've gotten older, man. I gotta start taking care of myself. I can't.
Do you go the single Cinnabon then?
I had a Cinnabon like a month ago.
Okay. Was it delicious? Everything it's
It was
supposed to be?
delicious. It was
Yeah.
delicious. I split it with the kiddos. We split it 3 ways,
Nice.
which is a long way from having 2 in one sitting.
Dude, far be it from me to judge. So now, would you rather Cinnabon or Krispy Kreme? You got both there, right? I mean,
yeah. Interestingly enough, like
you don't like Krispy Kreme.
I'm not a big Krispy Kreme.
Whatever. I give up. I give up.
I mean, there's a
Dude, if you can't find orgasmic joy in a nuked or like just toasty warm right off the press Krispy Kreme glazed,
maybe it's because
and then 16 more after that. I mean, come on.
Maybe it's because Krispy Kreme is right down the street and I can go get one anytime I want.
That would be brutal.
It's like,
Do you get numb to it then?
when I first moved here, it was like, oh, Krispy Kreme, Krispy Kreme.
Mm.
But now it's kind of like, yeah, Krispy Kreme. I can go get a Krispy. I can go get one right now if I wanted to, like literally right now, and go get a Krispy Kreme. But it's like,
I mean, I guess I could too if I wanted to drive a little ways. It's not too far away.
But it's like, like okay.
All right.
I don't know. When I tell you I'm kind of boring, I've been kind of boring.
Well, I mean, you can't always live the raging lifestyle of.
And the thing is,
double Cinnabon with extra frosting.
I mean, not too many people that I know have ever been handcuffed to a fence in Reno.
Well, anytime things slow down, you just throw that out there.
I mean, it's not like I haven't like done some crazy stuff and lived a good life. I just got my system early.
But that and the double Cinnabons are behind you.
And the double Cinnabons, but I still would. Go ahead.
You still would?
I still would eat the snack if I could find clam dip in Charlotte.
Oh, the snack. Well, but that's different. That's almost like that's got some nutritional value. I mean,
absolutely.
There's clams. There's nuts in the Snickers.
Yes.
Corn.
And there's spices like we talked about.
There are spices that probably came from India.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
India or China or somewhere.
What do you think folks in India think about like Cool Ranch Doritos? Do they go, oh my God, that's such good flavor, or what abomination is this?
It's probably what abomination is this crazy American.
Yeah. There's actually a fun reaction show, and I don't know. I don't think they're Indian. I'm not sure where they're from, but it's like folks that like definitely have not eaten a lot of Western food.
Yeah.
And so, they're like, here's a Big Mac.
And then they eat it.
Man, they're like, what is this? And speaking of the Big Mac, meat sweats.
Dude, go to Chima or a place like the Brazilian Steakhouse. You'll get the meat sweats.
Right. Have you ever had a pizza?
A pizza. I don't know. What's a pizza?
What do you think a pizza is?
A pizza and a burger?
Ooh. Now, do you mean like a burger that tastes like a pizza, or like a burger with like a pizza wrapped around it?
Yes.
The second?
The second.
Okay. No.
Like a hamburger.
Yes.
But in the middle, instead of like hamburger, it's pizza. Is that what?
Pizza inside the hamburger?
Yeah.
Now you're blowing my mind. Okay. That's not what a pizza is, but that's almost like that's like a crazy Swedish meatball. A
So
meat.
you tell your story. It didn't remind me to tell you about the craziest burger I've had.
Ooh, like good or like just weird?
Yes, both.
Nah, okay. So quickly, a pizza is just instead of a crust being of bread, the crust is made with meat.
Ooh,
Like ground up chicken is a
ooh.
favorite, and then there you go. And if you eat that, you will have meat sweats.
Okay,
And
I'll try that.
if you're looking, you may want to
Yeah.
follow it up with a green smoothie. Just saying that's my favorite thing to do.
So let
As
me
a
tell you about
balance
the
that out. But yeah,
craziest
tell me about your
burger.
crazy burger.
All right. Have you ever heard of the Luther burger?
I don't think so.
The Luther Vandross burger.
Okay. Tell me about it.
A heart attack on a plate. All right. So here's the burger. Instead of buns, it's 2 Krispy Kreme donuts
Oh, dang.
on each
Okay.
side. And then in the middle, it's a triple bacon cheeseburger.
Holy smokes.
And it's called the Luther burger. So apparently he ate that right before he had a heart attack.
I mean, you know,
A
like
triple bacon cheeseburger.
I tell you what, you know, like if it was like, you know, like if I got to go like on a nice big bike ride, you know what I mean, to where I could eat it, or like did that like a bike vacation where I could do like 3 bike rides like in like 5 days. At the end of that 3rd bike ride where I was just so destroyed and I couldn't even move, I think I could justify that.
Yeah. You'll have to Google the Luther burger. It is it was something else.
Dude, I mean, you've said all I need to hear. I mean,
Yeah, it was something else.
have you had one?
Yes,
Shut up.
I've had the Luther burger.
And you live to tell about it.
Just barely.
So are you saying that Luther was just weak?
So think of it this way, right? You talked about Krispy Kreme goodness. So 2 legit Krispy Kreme hot off the presses donuts with a triple bacon cheeseburger, and you eat it like a hamburger. Think about that.
I am thinking about that. It sounds delicious. Is there like only one restaurant, or is this like a thing that like every kind of burger restaurant does?
Everybody kind of does a little bit different. Everybody does something a little bit different when it comes back here. The Luther burger is made up with the triple cheeseburger. So look in the chat. I just sent you something. You can click on that.
I'm gonna destroy all my video again.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna take your word, dude. I'm imagining that because I mean I love cheeseburgers.
yes.
Honestly, I mean I love. There's just nothing more solid than don't get me wrong. I love sushi. I love Indian food like we just had. Like lots of different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But a fat cheeseburger. I mean,
really good, yeah.
What you're talking about there, like I say, you got to earn that one. You know, I mean, personally speaking, like that's got to be, you know, you did like a marathon or something.
I mean, so hopefully right now what you're seeing is a picture of a Luther burger.
I'm just gonna look. I'm just gonna look at a Luther burger, and I bet I'll get the meat sweats just looking at it, right?
And I mean, it's one of those things that you know, it's a cheeseburger with Krispy Kreme donuts on either side. I mean, how can you go?
That's everything. I mean, it's not like I couldn't imagine that, but it does help to see. Oh, they actually grill the donut.
Yeah,
I did not imagine that part. Okay, see that part.
Yeah. And then you can also,
they almost like they like George Foreman that thing a little bit.
Yeah. And then you can also deep fry it. Also, you can deep fry the donut.
Well, Christ.
Because
why shouldn't you?
And you can deep fry everything.
Have you had the deep fried version?
I have.
My goodness, sir.
Yes.
You are living on the edge.
So I was at Charlotte Motor Speedway in 2014 because my little one was 2, almost 3, and I had a deep fried Luther burger, and I had a deep fried Snickers, and I had a deep fried.
All in the same day, huh?
Oh, it's the same setting, and I had
Woo.
a mason jar full of moonshine, strawberry moonshine.
You're right.
And that's about all I remember from that day.
Did you just like? Did they just like say like, here's your insulin?
I mean, it was here.
Man, I mean,
Here into a NASCAR race. So
like,
let me just tell you something about.
I'm hooked on the fried part of the burger here because.
Yeah.
So do they make the burger and then just drop that whole thing into the fryer?
So you can do it 2 ways. The most popular way was you cook the burger, you get the burger ready, then you drop the donuts, you drop the Krispy Kreme donuts into the fryer, and then you pull them out. And as soon as they're like cool enough to eat, you slap it, you slap the meat and stuff in between it, and you eat it. People do like to drop the whole thing in the deep fryer, and it's got like the coat around it, and you eat the whole thing. But the way I had it was they dropped the donuts in the deep fryer, and then as soon as they were cooled off enough, you got your 3 patties with the bacon, and you just put it on there, and you went to town.
3 patties, you say?
And then you washed it down with the moonshine.
Right. Which is not really like hard liquor moonshine, right? It's like a drink that's called moonshine.
No.
Or is it actually strong?
This is Charlotte, North Carolina, where they take moonshine seriously. Like there's people that
like there's stuff like in the store called moonshine that
no.
I mean,
this
like
was,
it was not impressive.
This was Cleveland County stuff. This was like straight out of a still.
Oh dang! Okay, so this is real.
This was like you drink too much of it, you'll go blind. This was like legit moonshine. Like
so,
drunk. I was like poisoned. I was hallucinating. Like you don't when somebody tells you, hey, I can get you some shine, and they just call it shine, and it's like in an unmarked jar with
you figure I'll while my kids are here, this sounds like a good idea.
It's got like a little piece of cloth over it, and then like a rubber band, and then it's like the real deal, man. Like this the stuff you buy in the store. This is like,
man, that's like you go blind. Yeah, talk about going. That is that's edge.
I will never drink moonshine again, ever.
Yeah, I don't know that it has a lot of appeal for me.
It is
sounds kind of gross.
I mean, and especially don't drink moonshine after you've been drinking like tequila all day and stuff like that. Like it just
hey, if you've just been drinking tequila, just stick with that. You have it made. But
here's the deal. There's a lot of stuff that goes on at a NASCAR race that you don't see on TV. There's just a lot of stuff that goes on in the infield of a NASCAR race that like is potentially highly illegal, highly immoral, and just wrong.
Is there just like is there like horror tents and stuff? I mean, trailers, you should say, I guess.
Now, if you go down to if you go down to Talladega and you go to one of the Talladega, Alabama races, those are rumored to be more off the hook than Mardi Gras.
Wow, just people going crazy.
So put it to you this way: like the Talladega race, there's 50,000 people that come to the race that never go in the stadium. They just
right, and the stadium holds like 200 or something crazy,
yes,
right?
It does. Yes, it does. So the campground for some of these NASCAR races, it's the way I can equate it is like, think of like a medieval like village where like you imagine your character walking through this village and you can get anything like legal or illegal. You
nice. Okay. Wow. That's fun.
And it's just like a cast of characters. and you got people just from all walks of life, and anything that you could potentially think of purchasing, any type of commerce is there. Your idea of Winnebagos with full service is 100% there.
Crazy. I mean,
And it's
not
just
my scene, because like I couldn't, like, that whole idea of like, Mardi Gras or other big festivals. I mean, it's just never been my bag. But I get it for folks that are into that. Um, and those folks, having a hard time because none of those festivals can happen right now.
right.
And people, trying to, I guess, do their damnedest to try to make them happen anyway, or make some version of them happen. I don't know. There's been some weird.
I remember like 3-4 years ago, I was at the NASCAR race, and this is in Charlotte. And Charlotte's pretty tame, but it had rained, and there was probably like a mud puddle that was probably 18 inches deep. And there were people jumping off of this platform doing belly flops into the mud puddle. And people, I mean, people like the NASCAR races on Sunday. People show up on Thursday when the campground's open,
right?
Are drinking on Thursday to get prepared for the race on Sunday.
Which now I don't think this is like super unique just to NASCAR, because the only thing I can equate it to is like, because I watch a lot of racing overseas.
Yeah,
like in Europe, and it's the same, because it's the same format of, qualifying Saturday, races Sunday, but everybody shows up like Thursday.
Well, so in NASCAR, the difference is they the lower level races on Thursday and Friday. So
for sure, yeah, they do the same. Yep.
So you have like your nationwide series, which is like the junior series, and you have the truck series. So the trucks run on Thursday, or I'm sorry, the trucks run on Friday, the nationwide runs on Saturday, and then the big series runs on Sunday. Everybody qualifies a day prior to their race. So that's why people get there on Thursday when the trucks qualify, and then the trucks race on Friday, and then the junior series, qualifies and they run on Saturday, and then the NASCAR guys qualify on Saturday and they run on Sunday. Yeah. But it opens up on Thursday, and it's just a traveling circus.
Yeah. Well, and like some of the races I like to watch are like 24-hour races.
Yeah.
They do one in Daytona, Florida.
Yep, they do.
And then they do like over in Europe in a few different locations. And you just seeing, I mean, the folks are out there camping, partying. It's like 2 a.m, race cars going by all night long. Yeah. People just up, the whole time. And then, dawn comes, race cars still going, people still up partying, some people passed out.
Yep.
I mean, just making a whole event of it, which that's a lot of fun. I see the draw as far as, I mean, it's kind of like camping in a really, really loud campground.
It's like camping to a whole nother level. I mean, I don't know, man. And it's
camping at a fraternity or something. I don't know.
Yes, it's like camping in a fraternity, but it's I mean, NASCAR events, obviously they'll never be what they used to be. Nothing will, right? Nothing will.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Isn't that the whole idea? Is that it eventually it will, if once things are all, everybody's all vaccinated up and ready to go.
Well, there's some people like me that will probably never fully return to like big crazy crowds.
It sure doesn't seem to be stopping a lot. I mean, dude, there's folks now that are like, "Fuck it, we're so down."
I know, I know, but I mean, just for me personally, like,
I don't. So you were a crowd person, and now you think you won't be?
Well, I was never really I mean, I would go to big events, but I wouldn't say that like my goal was to be around like 30, 40,000 people at once. Like,
You just accidentally happen to find yourself around 30 or
well,
40,000 people.
well, here's the going to a sporting event. It's kind of it's controlled chaos, right? You're in your seat or you're on the concourse. Like I've never been to Mardi Gras and I always wanted to go, but like I've never been to something like that. That's what I consider is like a humongous crowd.
But that's what the races sound like, because, where a game is just like, okay, you're here for 3 hours and the game is on most of that time.
Right.
That racing event where it's like, no, we're here for 4 or 5 days,
Now I
and
only did that once. I only did that once.
no, I'm just saying. I mean, that's
Do it
that's
again.
such an event. That's such a whole party atmosphere. There's so many other things going on other than the racing. I mean,
And
like
most of
I
people
went to a festival once in Crandon, Wisconsin, and it was trophy truck racing, on a track, and it was the same thing. You got there like Thursday or Friday, camping, partying like crazy college people, and then there's racing going on kind of like the whole time in one form or another, and you kind of wander over there drunkenly sometimes and go, oh, look, some racing.
mm-hmm.
And then you go, let's go back to the camp, and you go wander on back to camp, and you'd wander through the fields and fields of other campers. And I mean, like I say, I mean, when I was younger, I guess it was pretty sweet. I haven't felt that urge to do that
Yeah.
probably since then. But
Now I always
whatever. I mean, I
I,
guess it's curious. A lot of people love that kind of thing, and if the Rona has changed that, even after a vaccine, if people will
right.
opt
Now
not to.
I've always wanted to go to Mardi Gras just to see it, just to
Mm,
everybody's like it stinks. It's people are peeing and throwing up on the streets all over, but it's one of those things that like you just kind of want to go see. I'm more of a guy like I was talking about the Area 51. I'm more of a guy that likes to go to something and hang out on the periphery. I don't necessarily want to be in the soup. I want to be on the rim. I want to go to Mardi Gras and stand on a balcony and just kind of watch everybody, not be down in the, but just kind of watch it, just to observe. I'm more of an observer than I am a more mixer upper, if that makes sense.
So I went to a concert once at the Salem Armory
Mm.
where Pantera was playing.
Wait, was Guar there also? Was that show?
I did not see Guar.
Okay.
It was Pantera and some other bands.
Okay.
And the this was kind of like the early days of mosh pitting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been to other concerts where, it wasn't so bad. But this concert was like, wow, that is not my speed. So I was like, I'm gonna go up into the stands where it's safe,
Yeah.
um, and smoke weed. But I guess that's the security guards figured all the people that were up in the stands were all the people that were too terrified to be down in the crazy pit. So we were easy pickings for the security people to come. I had my weed snatched right out of my hands. I just looked at him and I was like, you are bold.
Yes.
I mean, in this setting, in this concert where people down there are kicking the shit out of each other,
Yep.
you're bold, man. But okay, I'm not violent. I'm just a little pissed, but that's cool. Um, yeah, no, but even trying to observe from a safe distance can sometimes have consequences.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's everybody said like Mardi Gras is one of those things that you need to see at least once.
nah,
Yeah, yeah.
nah, I'll pass. I'm good. I can imagine it. Can imagine it just fine. Um, do you got any buy or sell action? I don't know. Or should we just? I can keep ticking things off my list here.
Tick. Go ahead and tick.
All right. All right.
Tick, 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 tick.
Washcloths. Yes or no?
Um, no.
Wow. Okay. No. All right. I am a fan of a partial washcloth action. Um.
The reason I say no is
Mhm.
because do you wash your washcloth in between every bathing?
Of course. Not like in the washing machine, but you wash it with soap, which is kind of like, washing it and then wash it off and then ta-da. I don't use it for anything else other than, you know, about 30 seconds for what I'm saying.
Not a fan of
But
those like fancy sponges.
like, see, here's my thing. I would not want to put my washcloth, I would not wash my face with it.
Okay,
See what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I would maybe have like a separate washcloth for the rest of me.
right,
But
okay,
my washcloth is like a pretty targeted specific area.
yeah,
But I'm just curious. Not everybody rocks that way. Some folks are like, no, I'm just gonna just go hand soap, grease the crevice, and go for it.
I'm also not a bar of soap person either.
Are you a liquid soap person
I
in
am
the
a liquid
shower?
soap. Yeah, I'm a liquid soap.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have the detachable nozzle
Uh,
for the water? You know what I'm saying?
no,
I'm just curious if that
no, it's no, it's not that. I've got the
because like a lot of countries go with the bidet, which I think is a really class move. I mean, are you familiar with those?
I've never used a bidet, but I'm familiar with that.
Neither have I. And I just like to throw out there that these cheap bullshit knockoff things where it's like, oh, I put like the little attachment from the kitchen sink to my
Yeah,
freaking toilet, and now
right.
that's not a bidet.
That's not a bidet.
Where if you have to reach your own hand and do
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
that's not a bidet.
that's
That
not a
that
bidet.
that that you might as well be in Arkansas outside. I mean, come on. So, but an actual like it, like in Japan, I know they're big fans. I would think anyway, class move. But I was just curious. Maybe that was if you don't have the bidet action, maybe you go with like a detachable nozzle
No,
liquid soap combo that I'm not picking up on.
no, I just remember like back in the day, like when I was single and I had all the fancy stuff in the shower just in case somebody were to come over
Mm.
and I just remember like that thing you'd pick up the rag or the sponge and it's like
It's all gross and nasty. Yeah,
gross,
for sure.
nasty. And no, and the same thing with bar soap. Like the bar soap would sit there all day, and then you'd have to like wash the bar soap off before you could wash yourself with it. So
You can put it like in a little grate kind of thing so it drains and it's not quite as, you
just
know.
doing too much. That's doing too much. I'm
That's a
just
lot of work. I get it. It's a lot of work.
the bottle of liquid soap, the men's whatever, the smell good stuff, the
Mm,
bit of tangy
mm,
menthol or something. You want
mm.
like kind of feel like you're getting exfoliated. I'm just squirt a little in my hand, rub it together, and go to town.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, not a washcloth guy.
Nah, that's fine. Let me see. Hmm. Put you on the not a washcloth list. Yeah.
I'm disappointing you. I'm not a washcloth. I don't like hot.
Nope. It's all good.
Uh,
It's all good. Just seeing
I'm
exactly
gonna
where
get
you fit.
profiled here. Yeah,
Seeing
I'm gonna get
exactly where
profiled
you
here.
fit. Okay, well, I don't know if we got enough time for all of this idea here, but and we're bouncing all over the place, but that's okay. Um, I don't know if there's any current events to actually talk about. So
I was hoping to kind of keep this kind of a politic-free show. We're having fun.
cool. Well, then let me talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'd like to tell you why the prequels are great. Um,
Ooh, this is a hot take here.
it is. It is. Get ready. So and if folks aren't familiar, prequels and Star Wars, I'm gonna go on the basis that everybody's familiar with what Star Wars is. So
I sure hope so.
so going from there, I obviously Star Wars was released out of order, episode wise.
4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah.
7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So
I'm old school. 4, 5, 6 are my favorite, but I'll let you continue.
4, 5, 6. Those are ones from the 70s and the 80s.
Yes.
Those are the ones we grew up with.
Yes.
They were great. They hold up to time. They hold up to viewing long after the first one. They hold up to several views. They hold up to the original creator rehacking them to make him not as good, but whatever, more explodey. Anyway, yes, those ones from the 70s and 80s, those are great. But that's where pretty much everybody kind of diverges. Like nobody hates on the original ones.
Right.
Like honestly, I have never heard anybody dog on the original ones ever once.
If they dog on the originals, and they're not a fan. They're just not a fan at all.
But honestly, I seriously have never heard like a critique of the originals of like, oh, this is why they were terrible. However, the next batch was from the early 2000s.
Right.
And they made 3 movies from like the late 1999, early 2000s, that era. And then there was a big break until the current batch of films. And I've got takes that are quite hot on both of those batches because again, I think everybody universally loves the originals.
Right. 4, 5.
However, the prequel batch that came out in the early 2000s get a lot of hate. A ton of hate. I think undeserved hate. I think when we look at those movies now, after all this time, I always liked them. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I always liked those movies. Yes, Jar Jar sucks. I get it. We all get it. Jar Jar's awful. Moving on from that idea, I like a lot of those movies. I like a lot of things about them. No, I don't like everything about them, but I like a lot. I mean, I don't like everything about the originals. Whatever. For the amount of static that they give those prequel movies. And then, I mean, again, and as somebody that liked those prequel movies from the from when they first came out, I enjoyed them. Even then I go, okay, they're not as good as the originals, fine, but they're good. And I enjoyed the heck out of them. And then there's like, they got all this static for so many years while we waited for the next batch to come out. And again,
the next batch came out.
The next batch comes out. And again, nothing's going to live up to the hype. I mean, nothing can. There's so much hype built in. I mean, how could anything live up to it? But I don't know. The new ones don't do much for me. I mean, they rehash so many of the same ideas of a Death Star. Oh my God, never heard of that idea before. And then, oh, we're gonna do a Death Star again. Can you believe it?
But isn't it predictable? Isn't that part of the story though? You knew that was coming before the movie.
It doesn't have to be, for Pete's sake. They can make it whatever they want. I mean, they are writing the story. They can do whatever the shit they want.
Because this is 7, 8, 9, right?
Yeah, but even at that point, I mean, they've thrown out what us nerds call canon, which is storyline, a story arc, meaning not just the movies, but paperback books, video games, all cartoons, anything that was Star Wars, like official Star Wars, was supposed to all fit in somehow.
In the same universe.
Yeah, I mean, and because there was like a ton of paperback novels, like in the 90s, there was a ton of paperback novels of Star Wars. In the early 2000s, there's a ton of paperback novels, just fun, goofy, sci-fi Star Wars novels, fun stories. But they were all supposed to be kind of all part of the same Star Wars universe. But they they've broken off from all of that. And they've said, oh, some of those stories don't exist anymore now in this timeline. And you're like, okay, fine, whatever. It's just a story. It's just a movie. I don't really care that much. But the real nerds get really, somehow.
Oh yeah, they get really upset about
like,
that.
Whoa, wait a minute.
What about this that happened here?
Yeah, you're changing stuff from that one book or whatever. How can that possibly be? But my point is that like all these new movies, this new batch, I mean, they get like a lot of hype because oh, they're so gritty, and they've kind of got that Dark Knight kind of feel to them, an ultra
Mhm.
realistic kind of feel, whatever. But the story is like, I mean, it's literally the same dang thing going. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't believe that I was getting worn out on Star Wars, but I was like, man, if this is all you got for me, I'm just not feeling it,
But so let me ask you this. So realistically, if you're going to be like true and authentic,
Mm.
the original storyline that George put out, how much could they realistically veer from that without like the purists, like you were talking about, getting all bent out of shape?
I mean, the purists are always going to get bent out of shape. I mean, so you just kind of go, who cares? Because I mean, dude,
Mhm.
they're trying to appeal to everybody. So who gives a shit about this core little group? They'll get
Well,
over
wasn't
it,
it wasn't it criticism with Disney that people were afraid that Disney was going to like Disney it up? You
Yeah,
know?
and I think they've done a good job of not doing that, of being still producing stronger content, I
You
guess
know,
more
or
adult
or
like.
writing a movie around an amusement park ride, is what Disney's always been accused of. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, Star Wars is, I mean, such its own thing. When they acquired that, I mean, it was like, I mean, yes, of course, they're building amusement rides with Star Wars themes, of course, but I mean, it is such its own big monstrous thing, its own universe. Um,
yeah,
but they also realize that, I mean, everybody loves Star Wars, and if we piss off a few nerds because we change up a little bit of storyline here or there, we don't really care at
hmm
all because everybody loves Star Wars. And oh my gosh, Baby Yoda. So, you know, who gives a shit if a few nerds that read some of those paperbacks 20 years ago get pissed off? Nobody cares. Um, and I'm okay with that too. I just want, I mean, you literally have an entire galaxy, a whole universe to pull from. And I've just seen better story content from Star Wars video games.
hmm
Literally, like
hmm
if you go on YouTube, you can watch people will put together like all the cutscenes from a specific video game, and they'll mash them all together, and
right.
then it'll be like a 15 or 20-minute clip, and it's almost like a little movie
And
because
they're playing the whole game from start to finish.
yeah, and during that whole playthrough of the game, you get the normal gameplay, but like the gameplay will stop and then it'll go to like a short little movie scene.
Right, the cutscene. Yeah.
Yeah, games have done this forever and ever.
hmm
Um, but now they just when they do it, they look like real movie. They look like sweet cartoon movies now because they look
Right.
so good. So people edit all those together, and honestly, like there's a couple different Star Wars video games where people have edited together the content from that, the movie clip content, and it's like 15, 20 minutes long. And it is the best Star Wars content I've ever freaking seen. I
hmm
mean, it blows away the movies 100 different ways. It's
hmm
just it's stupid how good it is. And you're like, oh my gosh, you can make that. Why
But
I can't where
this,
but I mean, I understand why they can't because when they're making the movie, they're trying to make it for as broad of a base as possible.
right.
When they're making a video game,
They're making it for a target audience.
they can make it a little more targeted, but even the video games get a lot of criticism because they make them so bland because again, they're trying to appeal to as many people as they can. So they're going to tone it down and make it as generic, more generic than a lot of the true fans would like.
And that's why the true fans gravitate to the books and then they get upset when things aren't like the books because the books are like laser focused on that genre.
Well, and so are a lot of those games. I mean, I've played a lot of those games too, and the storyline that is in those games is great storyline. I mean, it's great stuff. It's good content. It is. That's what's so frustrating because you're like, holy crap, why am I getting better story content from a Star Wars video game than from any of the movies. I mean, I don't know if you ever watch any of the Star Wars cartoons. Like there's like Clone Wars, there's a bunch of other ones, but they're just cartoons and they're in the Star Wars universe and they're great stories and they're a blast. They're so much fun. Um like and they're not necessarily for kids. I mean, there's some pretty strong stuff going on in those. Although I don't know, I think I'm kind of dated in what I think a kid should be able to watch. I guess I don't know. Well, because like my 8-year-old when he was 8, he was like, "Oh yeah, my buddy watches Deadpool." I was
Mm.
like,
Yeah, and Deadpool's pretty grown up.
"Man,
Yeah,
like I go like this most of the time
yeah,
at Deadpool." I mean,
yeah.
I couldn't imagine watching that when I was 9. I mean, I don't know, man, but I was sheltered, so whatever. Um, I didn't get to watch Starsky and Hutch, so that was too
Dude,
raw.
Starsky and Hutch was so good.
I
That
I I got Ma put the kibosh. I didn't get to watch that when I was so sad.
that was like when TV to me first got popular.
Mm.
I remember rocking out to the Golden Girls back in the day.
No, dude.
Three's Company and the Golden Girls.
All the shows, yeah, for sure. Like also it was like literally like the only thing on.
True.
So
The
it was like, oh,
Jeffersons, Good Times.
man.
I mean, we could do a whole show on like 80s TV that was just so good. Welcome Back, Cotter. I mean, there was just so much stuff that was so good.
Uh,
You know what we watch a lot of in my house is Scooby Doo.
okay.
We watch Scooby Doo all the time. So I am trying to, and see, here's another thing. Like we talked about this, Scooby Doo, there's canon for Scooby Doo, right?
There, I'm sure there is.
And they're running like all the old Scooby Doo shows. And there's some stuff that I kind of feel like I'm kind of like, God, this is so corny. This is not like legit Scooby Doo back when they go in and do the Scooby Doo walk. Like the 90s were just a weird time for everything. So the 90s Scooby Doo, they try to be all hip and they try to bring all this technology into it.
Yeah, it was like CGI Scooby Doo or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, oh,
It was like the Jar Jar Scooby.
it's just so painful to watch. And then you look at like some of the like 1967 Scooby Doo, and it's just like, yeah, man, this was good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, my kids love watching like old cartoons, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like seriously, my littlest one barfed when they were watching Tom and Jerry. I mean, because he was laughing so hard. I mean, and he just kept laughing. You can see it. You're like, oh, this isn't good.
But that was just when you didn't have to spell everything out. Like cartoons nowadays, everything is like they explain everything to you. Tom and Jerry, you and I can watch Tom and Jerry and get two different meanings from it because we had to
dude, it's just
everything that was
silly things exploding and people chasing each other and grab ass. I mean, it's just that is the one thing. Like a lot of the cartoons now, they have to have like some big lesson in them or whatnot, or some big moral imperative or whatever, versus just being silly. And I mean, watching the cartoons, all the old ones. I mean, there wasn't. I don't know how many lessons there were. There was just being silly.
Well, dude, watching Foghorn, Leghorn, and the dog like try to outdo each other.
Yeah,
But nowadays, though, God, I mean, like every character back then had a gun or something, and you could never get away with that these days.
Yeah, I mean,
Yosemite Sam running around shooting everybody.
No, it's true. It's true. I was thinking like Elmer Fudd always hunting.
Yeah. Or how about that Pepe Le Pew
being all pervy? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, as far as like all the things that like
Pepe Le Pew would get me too real quick these days.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're talking about shows that like couldn't. I mean, talking about like shows that like used to be on TV. I mean, Archie Bunker. Would not be making it on broadcast TV.
Yeah,
I know they still show them like on, cable or whatever, but yeah. So, which now, I mean, it seems like, here's the thing. like shows like Fresh Off the Boat. You ever heard of that show? Or
Those shows
Blackish
make
is
me
another show.
uncomfortable. Those shows make, I mean, they're basically the same thing as Archie Bunker.
Boom. I'm glad you said it because here's what I'm glad you said it first because here those shows to me, it was one of my notes. Those shows to me seem like here's all the jokes that we used to be able to say, but now we can't. So we're going to get those folks to say them for us, and we can still laugh at those same jokes together.
Yes, absolutely.
Because now it's okay.
Right.
Absolutely. Because a black guy said a black joke or an Asian guy said an Asian joke.
Yes.
And I love hearing me some Asian jokes.
It's the same show. It's just a different perspective.
It's just not an old white guy making the joke. It's
right.
It's because here's the Asian guy making the joke.
So or Archie Bunker, a more modern version of Archie Bunker was Al Bundy, right? Fair?
I don't know if Al had the same racial undertones as Archie.
No. Here's what I mean by it. So it was a cranky old dad.
America's cranky dad. It's just that at that time in America, TV was trying not to portray America's cranky dad as being a racist bastard the whole time.
Right. But Al was definitely a sexist.
Very sexist. I mean, dude, his club was no ma'am. I mean,
yeah, so I mean, but that's what was going on in the country at the time,
For sure.
The prevailing thought. And then, when Archie Bunker was on, it was a different type of makeup. But then remember, you had kind of the alter ego, and the spinoff was the Jeffersons.
Right, for sure.
Right. So you had them kind of going head to head. I don't think Al Bundy had a head to head. Yes, he did. It was the Simpsons. It was Homer Simpson.
But that wasn't like a spinoff from his show.
It wasn't a spinoff, but it was still America's cranky dad, right? It was the same philosophy, same kind of playbook.
But Homer was such a dope. I mean, I guess Al was a dope too.
Right. But Homer kind of said the things that like you thought of, but you'd never say.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Like the really stupid things. And think about it. Homer sat in a bar all day and drank beer and worked a job that he hated and he didn't try. And Al Bundy did the same thing. Now, Archie Bunker was retired, but the way they had his story could have been the shoe salesman or worked in the nuclear power plant and drank beer all day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of the same guy. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just different. And then when you come in the later years, I'm trying to think who was the new Al Bundy on TV. Who was it? I don't know that there was a cranky old dad. After that.
Good question.
You got into Tool Time with what's his name, Tim Allen.
Right.
It was more of the kind of like new age dad at the time. And
well, sitcoms just kind of died off. I mean,
Roseanne, but then it was more of the cranky old mom.
For sure, but kind of but the same character, really.
It's the same character. It was just a female-led character.
Yeah, and then she shot herself in the foot, and well, because now like I didn't like my wife was watching it the Connors now because
they killed her off.
Right, but now they got Peggy from Married with Children is like
way
his new fling or whatever. So that's small world, right?
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
But
yeah, man.
But as crazy as shows are now, I mean, I don't know if they were anywhere as crazy as they were back then in a lot of ways. And they're crazy. I mean, because like I said, the amount of violence that gets shown now, or the graphicness of the violence is over the top compared to what it used to. I mean, there was still violence in old shows, but it's just so much more graphic now. It's just stupid.
You mean like watching
Um,
Law and Order and like
well,
like
but even like Knight Rider or A Team, I mean, they blast away, but no one would ever get hit. They'd always show the guy rolling and getting up and running away. You know what I'm saying?
right, yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
like a dude just getting filled up, and like just
right.
blasted to pieces or whatever.
A good point.
And I don't know, they just seem to, the oh no, you can't say, an off-colored joke. Okay, fine, but why can you show the most graphic violence and 58 different versions of it in one episode? Why is that cool? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm as a parent of a kid, I'm pretty sure I'd rather have my kid exposed to some titties and somebody saying fuck than some of the horrible shit that's on just normal TV
Right,
all the time. It's
right.
so over the top violent and so graphic. And that's like just considered, oh, that's just fine. I mean, like just the wrapping up the Star Wars, or wrapping it all up on Star Wars. There's another show called The Mandalorian, which
Mm-hmm.
is a Star Wars show, and I love it. It's awesome. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun. It's super. I would not let my kiddo watch it because it's crazy violent.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's dude. I mean, people get executed in that show. That's strong to me, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And of course he's like, talking to all of his friends at school or whatever in class on, their Zoom class, and all my friends get to watch The Mandalorian. And like, well,
Mm-hmm.
cool,
I think
but
I
there's
get a
just no
little
way. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy, what folks are okay with, I guess. But
I get a little bit of pass there because I have girls and they're not really into the whole violent show thing. And they're like, I tell you this. So I've got satellite TV, right? And they never watch their TVs. Like they watch YouTube. That's their main thing is they watch YouTube.
oh, dude, we cut the cord a long time ago.
Yeah. And the only reason we haven't cut the cord is because of me. Because
Mm.
I still like the Science Channel and the History Channel and the Discovery Channel. And
Dude, you can get all that on apps, bro.
I know.
Just saying.
And then also live sports. So
You'd be amazed how much of those you can get on apps now, too, dude. I could get any live sport I want. If I cared to, I can. I just don't feel like paying for it, so I don't.
and at some point I will. So a previous company I worked for, I probably shouldn't say this, but I still get a discount. So even though I don't work there anymore. Um, but they very rarely, if ever, watch their TV. It's just me. And they've got their 4 or 5 different YouTubers they watch, and you know, and all the stuff that they watch, I watch just to make sure that it's cool and it's pretty tame. And I know at some point it's not going to be pretty tame. They're going to grow up and branch out. But right now, it's pretty tame. They can go in their rooms, watch YouTube, and my little one is watching. God, what's the name of that YouTuber? The one that they're playing Adopt Me, and she's running with Santa or something like that. And Moody. And then my older one is just, she's watching tutorials on how to draw and how to do stuff. And I'm kind of like,
No, I think YouTube is amazing. I mean,
it's great.
It is one of those things. I mean, there's like everything is on YouTube. So I mean,
Yeah.
you start. I mean, if you have the parental locks on, it's fine.
Mhm.
I learned that one the hard way. Because when it's just a free open account,
Oh yeah.
oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
So,
find yourself in some dark corners. Is it the internet? In 10 minutes, you could be in places on the internet that you don't want to be.
nah, for real. And I know, and to try to, because like every device has access to it,
Mm-hmm.
The iPad, the Switch, the Nintendo
Yeah.
thing. I mean, they all have access to it, and so, um, you know, I mean, mostly he just watches other people playing video games,
Mm-hmm.
So, But I know that, I mean, hello, when you were a kid, if you would have had access to something like that, would you start searching all the crazy shit in the world? I would
Yeah, I
have.
mean,
Of
yeah,
course you would have.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, I gotta, try to keep a handle on that as best as possible. But yeah, well, it's time for some more Thanksgiving leftovers.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
probably a good place to end it.
yeah, I got
Well,
a
we're
lot of
doing.
things. I got a lot of things checked off my list here. So,
Yes, I've
so
got a lot of stuff for next week that I'm kind of saving up. I'm waiting for so our next show will be in December, and I've got some Christmas slash holiday theme stuff that I'm ready to go over that I didn't quite want to break out yet because we just had Thanksgiving. But as
nice.
close to the end of the year, I've got some good stuff. Some good stuff.
Well, and I'm sure there will be some probably current events that we could talk about if we chose to. Um,
Yeah, we'll see what
you
happens.
know,
I think
but
come first part of next year when we get into January, there's going to be a lot of
see, that's
political.
the thing. I mean, I think there's just a lot of noise right now. So, why listen to the noise?
Yeah,
And it was nice, not having to deal with that for this episode. So good
yeah,
deal. Um,
yeah. So everybody watching this, remember like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop us a comment. Drop us a comment. I've got a couple of text messages from people that I know that have watched the show that said they like it and gave me some feedback. But drop it on YouTube so everybody can see it. We look forward to seeing that.
for sure. And when next we chat, it will be December, and
It'll
and
be
like you say,
December.
heading into all the merry days of Hanukkah,
Yes, festivities, Kwanzaa, Christmas,
Festivus.
Festivus.
Yeah.
27th. That's the best ones. Festivus.
That's pretty much what this show is Festivus,
Yeah,
like every
it's
week.
Festivus. The
Yeah.
airing of grievances.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right, man. Well,
All right, man. We will touch base soon.
yeah. And to everybody out there, take care of yourselves.
Take care of yourself. Be safe.
Laters.
Later.